It was a gray, cold Christmas morning in New York City. The chill in the air seemed to reflect the quiet tension of the streets. Trump, dressed in a simple coat, walked through a neighborhood far removed from the glamour he was accustomed to. His usually commanding stride was replaced with a slow, thoughtful pace. As he turned a corner, his eyes fell on a lone figure sitting on a worn park bench. The man's coat was tattered, barely offering protection against the biting cold. His shoulders hunched under the weight of exhaustion and years of hardship. Without hesitation, Trump approached. "Good morning," he said, his voice warm but firm. The man looked up, his face lined with sorrow and surprise. "Morning. What brings someone like you here?" Trump smiled and sat beside him, ignoring the state of the bench. "What's your name?" "Jeremiah Watkins," the man replied, his voice heavy with weariness. Jeremiah's story unfolded slowly, haltingly, as if each word carried the weight of his pain. He spoke of a life once filled with joy, a loving wife, a daughter named Amelia, and a modest home filled with laughter. But one fateful night, a fire took it all away. "My wife didn't make it," Jeremiah whispered, his eyes glistening. "And Amelia, she ran off. She thought it was her fault. I looked for her, but she disappeared." Trump listened intently, his usual commanding presence softened by the depth of Jeremiah's despair. When the old man finished, a heavy silence hung between them. "You've been through hell," Trump finally said. "But you're not alone anymore." Without delay, Trump sprang into action. He called his team and ordered them to start searching for Amelia. He also arranged for Jeremiah to have a proper meal and a place to stay. "You're getting a fresh start," Trump declared. Jeremiah hesitated, overwhelmed. "Why would you do this for me?" Trump shrugged. "Because I can, and because no one should face this alone." Jeremiah's transformation began that very evening. He was taken to a barber shop where his unkempt hair was trimmed neatly. Trump personally picked out a new green coat for him, sturdy and warm. When Jeremiah looked in the mirror, he barely recognized the man staring back. "I look decent," he said, a hint of a smile breaking through. "Decent? You look sharp," Trump quipped, clapping him on the back. For the first time in years, Jeremiah laughed, a deep, genuine sound that seemed to echo hope. Meanwhile, the search for Amelia intensified. Trump's team left no stone unturned, scouring records, visiting shelters, and placing ads in newspapers. Jeremiah, while cautious, couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope reigniting. One day, as Jeremiah stepped out of the store with his new coat, a sleek black SUV pulled up. The door opened, and a young woman stepped out. Her eyes met Jeremiah's, and time seemed to stand still. "Dad," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Amelia," Jeremiah choked, tears spilling over. Behind her, two small children peeked out, clutching her hand tightly. "These are your grandkids," Amelia said, her voice breaking into a smile. Jeremiah's heart swelled with emotions he couldn't contain. My family." They embraced tightly, tears flowing freely as years of pain and separation dissolved in that single moment. Trump stood nearby, a rare softness in his gaze, watching the scene unfold. Amelia explained that she had fled out of guilt, believing the fire was her fault. She had struggled but managed to rebuild her life piece by piece, now raising her children on her own. With Trump's help, father and daughter began a new chapter together. Amelia was offered a position in one of Trump's organizations, while Jeremiah took on a mentorship role, sharing his life lessons with younger employees. What started as a chance encounter on a cold morning became a story of redemption, love, and the enduring power of kindness. Jeremiah's life, once in ruins, was rebuilt with compassion and determination. As the weeks passed, Jeremiah's life began to take shape in ways he never imagined. The new coat he had worn with such reluctance at first now became a symbol of his renewed hope. He would walk through the streets of New York, no longer a lost soul, but a man with purpose. Every morning, he would walk to the small cafe where he had his first hot meal after meeting Trump. The owners of the cafe, who had once overlooked him, now greeted him by name, even offering him free coffee on some days. The relationship between Jeremiah and Trump grew stronger, not just as benefactor and recipient, but as true friends. Trump would invite Jeremiah to dinner, and the two would sit down to meals in luxurious restaurants, chatting about everything from politics to life's simple pleasures. Jeremiah found himself laughing again, finding joy in the moments that once seemed impossible. As the new year came, Trump invited Jeremiah to attend one of his corporate events, a gathering of his top executives and business partners. Jeremiah felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The man who had once been homeless now had a seat at one of the most prestigious tables in the country. "Don't be nervous, Jeremiah," Trump told him as they walked through the doors of the venue. "You've earned this. You've already shown the world that you're stronger than your past." Jeremiah took a deep breath and stepped into the room. The sound of glasses clinking, the hum of conversation, and the bustle of waiters moving quickly filled the air. For a moment, he was overwhelmed, unsure of where he belonged. But as the night wore on, he found himself in a conversation with one of Trump's closest business partners. The man was impressed by Jeremiah's life story and offered him an opportunity he never expected, a chance to mentor others who had been through similar struggles. "Jeremiah," the man said, "there's a position opening up at one of our charities. We want you to run it. Your story, your strength, those are exactly what we need to show people who are struggling that there is always hope." For the first time in years, Jeremiah felt that his life had meaning. His pain, his past, it had all led to this moment. The opportunity to help others, to give them the hope that he had found, was more than he could have ever dreamed of. Meanwhile, Amelia had flourished in her new role, managing a successful branch of one of Trump's businesses. She was no longer the scared young woman who had run away from the fire. She was a strong, determined woman who was providing for her children and building a future. Watching his daughter thrive filled Jeremiah's heart with a joy he had thought was lost forever. But as time passed, Jeremiah realized something important: his journey was far from over. The life he had now, the family he had regained, and the work he was doing, all felt like just the beginning. He wanted to do more. He wanted to give back, to inspire others who are lost like he once was. The memory of his wife and the pain of losing her never left him, but it no longer defined him. His future was filled with hope, and he wanted to share that hope with the world. One afternoon, as he sat in his office at the charity, Jeremiah received a call. It was Amelia. "Dad," she said, "there's something I need to tell you. I've been thinking a lot, and I want to help you. I want to do more too. What do you think about opening a foundation together? We could reach people who need us, who need a second chance." Jeremiah's heart swelled. "I think that's a beautiful idea, sweetheart. Let's do it." And so, Jeremiah and Amelia launched the Watkins Foundation, dedicated to helping people who had fallen through the cracks of society, just like Jeremiah had. They worked together, helping those struggling with homelessness, addiction, and loss. Their foundation became a beacon of hope for many, offering the kind of second chances that had changed their own lives. As he stood outside one of the foundation's events, looking at the crowd of people who were there because they had been given hope, Jeremiah felt a sense of peace that he had never known before. He had come a long way from that cold morning in New York, when he sat on a park bench, unsure of his place in the world. He looked up at the sky and smiled, knowing that this was only the beginning. He had found his purpose, and now, with his daughter by his side, he would continue to help others find theirs. This story isn't just about Jeremiah. It's a story about resilience, hope, and the power of second chances. It's a reminder that no matter where we start, it's where we choose to go that matters. Jeremiah's journey, with its twists and turns, proves that even the darkest moments can lead to the brightest futures. And in the end, it's the people we help along the way who make all the difference. So, the next time you see someone who's struggling, remember this: one act of kindness, one second chance, can change a life forever.